Ich darf jetzt unsere nächste Vortragende vorstellen und habe tatsächlich jemanden gefunden, die noch einen komplizierteren Nachnamen hat als ich. Ich gebe mir wahnsinnig viel Mühe, ihn richtig auszusprechen. Do you speak in German or in English?
Hello, I will speak English.
Okay, so my presentation of your CV will be in English also. That was my question. I'm sorry, I
Thank
didn't
you.
know that before. I'm happy to present Ilona Tańska. And she holds a PhD in cultural studies from the University of Warsaw, and since 2008, I think, right? And she's going to present a talk about design-based research in the science center settings. And she's doing that because she's working at as a design-based researcher at the Copernicus Science Center, which is also in Warsaw and in Poland, right? And she is running the Copernican Revolution Lab and the R&D program at the museum. I'm very, very curious to hear what you are going to tell us, and the floor is yours.
Okay, hello, and unfortunately, I won't be able to deliver the talk in German. However, I understand German, and thank you very much for inviting me here. And it was very interesting to hear the previous talk from the visitor studies area. My name is Ilona łowiecka-Tańska, and right now I'm talking from Berkeley, US, so it's 5:50 in the morning, so I would say good morning, and that's why it's dark around. And okay, I will share my presentation with you. And the first question, of course, is why to talk about the design-based research on the conference about the museum and museum experience. So I would say that we were just very curious at Copernicus, what is happening with our visitors, what and why they do. And since the very beginning, so since 2010, we tracked them, we conducted the evaluation, we conducted the research, and today I would like to share the method that works really well in our setting with you. So I'm Ilona Tańska, and my presentation will consist of 3 elements. So first, I would like to very shortly to introduce our museum, so we know how the design-based research programs happen. Then I would like to share the lab museum idea with you, so we know better the context and the capabilities of our team and the museum. And then I will talk about the main part of the presentation, so the design-based research as the method, and I will share some examples of the studies we accomplished at Copernicus. I hope it works, and I hope it's very interesting. It will be interesting for you, and if so, please ask questions on the chat and comments, and I will be very happy to respond to them. So the first piece, so what is Copernicus? So we are the science center, so our exposition is built on objects to interact, not on historical or symbolic objects. And we were open in November 2010, so we are already 12. And our mission is to inspire people to experiment, to understand the world, and to take the responsible action. So we have the vision that people shape the world that is friendly to them and to nature by developing and applying science. And I'm sharing with you the photo that is always like making us happy and enthusiastic to our work. So this is the queue to Copernicus. We have typically approximately 1 million visitors per year. And this is the queue to buy the ticket before we introduced the internet sale system to our museum. But why I'm telling about this is that every moment, except of pandemic's time, if we enter the building, we can see more than 1,500 people exploring our exhibitions. And this enormous interest in the museum experience in Warsaw was one of our motivations to go further, to understand our visitors better. So, how is the museum? So we have approximately 450 exhibits displayed to visitors. And the idea is that our exhibits are instruments or tools that help visitors to understand, to experiment, and to explore natural phenomena that before inspired scientists. So this is the exhibition space. We have 2 floors. We have laboratories, so places where we provide more structured activities to our visitors. So this is biology, physics, chemistry, and robotics lab. Plus we have Fab Lab. And recently there are, I think, 340 people working at Copernicus. So these are educators. So those who have direct contact and direct relation with our visitors. We have scientists like physicians or biologists who are responsible for delivering the content and designing the content. Plus we have partners from business and science and education sector, because we imagine Copernicus as the space of cooperation where people from also who do not work in our museum can meet and contribute to building understanding of science, and they contribute to our mission. So this is about the institution and how we came to the lab museum idea. Perhaps we know that the idea of lab institutions, like lab school or lab preschool, was born in the US in the work by John Dewey, who established the first lab school. So the place where researchers and educators could observe behavior of students to understand better how learning happens and how to design better ideas for the education. So what inspired us is that when we observed our visitors interacting with Copernicus objects, in fact, we very often ask the question, what is happening here? So we know that they explore natural phenomena because this is design of our exhibits to enable them to do so. But what is the meaning of particular actions taken by our visitors, not only kids, but already adults? So as an example, I thought, okay, these are 9 of 15 photos from our last projects. So you can see here like 2 girls who are manipulating with one of our favorite objects. So this is the swirling sand exhibit. And when you watch the video, it's really the questions, what are they doing here? So what is the deep meaning and significance of the actions they take? Is it coincidental or there is an aim or goal? So we had many questions like this, observing kids and observing adults working in the visitor space. So starting from 2010, we had the evaluation department, and the evaluation department, of course, ran evaluation projects, but we were like hunger of more deep knowledge. what is happening there. So the evaluation department transformed to research and analysis department. And after 7 years, we decided to open the new branch of Copernicus, that is Copernican Revolution Lab. And the idea behind is to create the lab museum equipped in research infrastructure, so we can deepen our knowledge about human free choice, spontaneous learning in the space like ours. And we will open this new space in September this year. Why I'm talking about this? Because when we observe the visitors, typically what we can do is conduct behavioral studies. So we observe the behavior, what people do, and then we conclude, okay, so what we see in their behavior is the engagement, or we can track conversations and we can track topics they talk about. But we had a feeling that we are missing the theory developed in like other disciplines like learning sciences. So we were hunger of deeper understanding of this behavioral that would comment and deepen our own knowledge gained within behavioral studies. So what we could do. So one of methods that really works really good in the museum setting is the design-based research. That is from the method from learning sciences, so interdisciplinary approach to investigate people's behavior in learning. And we like this method a lot because it's from the experimental methods family. So it helps us both to design new solutions for our museum, so enrich methods used by our educators, but simultaneously it connects us with the academic world. So we were able to adapt theories from learning sciences, so from the academic work, and to adapt them to experiments, how different solutions for museum could work. So the method, it looks a bit chaotic, but it's not chaotic, but it's just not linear. Looks like we have like a theory. For example, Vygotsky's theory about scaffolding. So supporting and facilitating other people's learning. Or we have sociocultural framework of investigating learning. So we have the theory, and then we design a solution like, for example, how could be the facilitation of the school groups like in a way to support kids' agency or critical thinking. So then we design the method, the solutions, and the analysis we gain has like two dimensions or two directions. So first, from the educator's perspective, we learn how it works and whether it works in the museum setting, but simultaneously, we gain the academic knowledge, how the theory works in practice. So to make it more practical, I will tell about two examples. So first is the project where we wanted to design educational sets for families, so physically boxes with instructions and tools to experiment at home. And of course, we're very curious whether and how people use it and they get it. But also we wanted to know what is the role of parents in this process and whether very specific type of facilitating children's work, so scaffolding, supports children agency. So it was one case. So we wanted to know, as a result, how to train or support parents so their interaction with kids is more effective. But also we wanted to check, and it was the theoretical part, how the idea of scaffolding works in this one-to-one relation with the children at home. The second case was the project when we wanted to design formats of facilitation for the school group participation in mobile exhibition visits. And the question again was, what style of facilitation of the school group by our Copernicus educators supports student engagement? So in this project, what we did, we designed like 10 different formats of interaction on the mobile exhibition that was traveling across the Poland. And we conducted a research, what are the visible results of students' engagement while using these particular formats at school. But I think maybe it would be more interesting and more practical if I show another example a bit more detailed. So this is the project that took place in Copernicus Planetarium. And we were really curious, and we wanted to check whether the opportunity of touching unique objects, in our case it was the meteorite, is more appealing to visitors than the opportunity to look and to watch the object. So we had the theory about tactile engagement and all benefits to visitors, but we also read in the literature, and there was a theory that the opportunity of touching and tactile engagement usually make visitors more interested and more eager and more open for the experience. So what our colleagues were exploring is the "I was here" syndrome. So whether it works also in museum like ours, the very human need to touch something and to take a photo possibly to confirm that this experience and the object is part of someone's biography. So what is the context? The context is that we have the meteor in our collection, and it's very well hidden. So it is at the very end of the museum. It's not easy to find a path there. However, of course, we try. And also the structure of the potential visit is not comfortable for visitors because usually a meteorite is in the planetarium space, and usually people used to watch it after the planetarium show. So also there is kind of competition between the moment people leave the museum, because this is after the show, or they have the choice to visit the exhibition. So so you see the way to the object is quite complicated. Yeah, so we have to go down and to go stairs up. It's not easy to find it, and unfortunately, this is the place designed for this exhibition. So what we did is we designed the experiment, the intervention, during the so-called lates at Copernicus. So during the night for adults, and we asked the museum explainers to participate in the experiment. So what they did, they supported the experiment in a way that after one show, they didn't provide visitors with any extra information about the exhibition. So it was live as usual. In the second experiment, after the show, they provided the information that we invite visitors to visit other attraction of the evening, and they invited people to see a real meteorite. And the third element of the experiment was to provide the participants of the planetarium show with the information, but they can touch a real meteorite. Okay, so we have three options, and here is the result. So after the first information, so no information, just life as usual, 6 of 75 participants of the planetarium show made a decision to visit the exhibition and to see the object. After the second experiment, so the invitation to see the object, 17 of 126 visitors decided to go. And after the announcement that there is an opportunity to touch the object, 22 of 103 decided to go and to see our object. So the result shows that we have like increasing numbers of interested visitors when we just manipulate the information that is delivered to them. So here you see how it's different depending of no information, the option of seeing the object, and the option of touching the object. And of course, we were very curious what they do depending of the information provided. So as you can see, this is the division of how many people touched and how many people looked. So in the group, when people were aware of the option touch or look, all people decided to touch the object. So this is the third group. In the group that was encouraged to see and to look, but of course still they had the option to touch, more people decided to look only, just because they were not aware of the option of touching. And but it's very interesting, but without the instruction, but it is, as you see, very small, simple. Majority of people decided to touch the objects, but also is the information for us that people are like following more or less the instruction. Okay, so if the instruction is attractive to them, touch, they do it. If we provide them with the instruction, just look, but they see, they can also touch. This is like 50-50 results. Okay, and if they have free choice, they do what is the real preference. So they touch. So this is like a very small study, but it was really inspiring for us in terms of how the theory works. So the theory of the of tactile intervention and interaction, but also it was very profitable for the institution. So we knew how to communicate with our visitors. And my 20 minutes are already over. It was the sound of the alarm. I switched on not to talk too much. And and thank you for your attention. And I will be very happy to hear your comments and eventual questions.
Thank you very much for this really inspiring talk about the visitors in this center. And I'm open. I envy more than 1 million visitors a year. That is really enormous, and I hope I can get there once. I saw already one raisen hand from Mrs. or Mr. Engelhardt. I don't know first
Mrs.
name. Mrs.
Mrs.
Sorry.
Mrs.
Yeah, thank you very much for your very interesting talk. What I would like to know is, since your museum lab seems to be leaning more on the side of active research, how you're going to communicate that to the participants or visitors, so to speak, since the usual traditional research methods that we use in the museum space require to a certain degree some kind of consent from the visitors. And your approach seems to be even more research-based, which means it seems to be more like an experiment setting. So do you plan on engaging the visitors actively? Are you telling them that they are more or less part of an experiment and then just let them loose on your designed exhibits? How do you balance this that you just want to observe maybe to a certain extent and just observe their approach to your exhibit, and how much do you need to integrate the active consent of the participants just for legal reasons and so on?
Thank you for this question, and I think there are several aspects of the question. So first is the formal. So formally, when people buy tickets to Copernicus, there is an information that it may happen, but they are participating in the research. But this is not enough, just because people trust us. So people feel secure at Copernicus. So even if we say that buying the tickets, you accept the rule that may research happen, we believe this is not enough. So we do at least three things. So one, if there is active research happening at Copernicus, we always inform visitors with like big labels. Hello, today there are researchers in the exhibition space. You contribute to science. So this is one message. If the research is not individual, so we are not collecting personal data. If we record visitors on the video, there is a huge announcement. And if we believe that there will be visible faces, or we work with kids, we always have the written acceptance by parents or legal identities responsible for the child. So this is the third element. Second element, so this is formal. So we are very sensitive for this, because one of things that we really wouldn't like to lose is the trust of our visitors. So this is the priority. The second thing is the science communication. So not only that they accept it, but they understand what is happening. So in September or October, I'm not sure now, because it's technical stuff, we opened the Living Lab space. So there is a special space at the Copernicus when we have 5 research stations that look like exhibits, but those objects are communicate the science we do at Copernicus. So this is like a specially designed space, so people understand what is the science behind. So there will be displayed names and faces of researchers, like Ilona Tańska. I'm researcher in learning sciences. What I do now is this project, so they can see my face or my colleague's face. And also they can take part in the research knowing the method. So the method is explained. So we would like to make the research part of Copernicus DNA. So people know that this is the space when we present science, but also when we make science. So this is the idea of the institution. Okay?
Das war ein ganz wunderbares Schlusswort für die jetzige Session. Wir beobachten nicht nur, sondern wir machen auch Forschung, und wir zeigen nicht nur Forschung.